So you see something like this from 200 yards away, and it looks like it's 20 feet tall. And then Bryan sends you pictures of the tracks that he's finding while he's in the field. Could it be real? I made sure to shoot a clip just in case. Every time we go into this forest, we see these things. So basically, here's what we're looking at. It appears to be around 20 feet tall, and I saw it. If you understand what you're looking at, it's insane, and it harkens to stories that we've heard about ancient times. And I think what we're seeing here in our footage is we've discovered that certain places here in the state of Florida, and I'm sure all around the country, are harboring the very creatures that we have been speaking about since ancient times. Because these are the undeveloped parts of the state of Florida, the undeveloped parts of whatever state you're in. At this point, I'm telling you, with this going on here, and this much development surrounding this creature, and I mean ridiculousness, it is highly probable that these creatures are everywhere. And I got news for you, man. I don't want to find out what happens if one of these things gets pissed off. They're real, period. And we're going to continue the study, and I don't know what we're going to uncover. We're going to try to do it safely with some real long lenses. You know what I mean? All of this tracking all in there, yeah, that's going to be rethought, because I'm staring at what essentially, in my mind, equates to what has the potential to make a human being vanish in a split second. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to talk about Captain Bryan. B-Boy, that's what we call him, man. We grew up together, and Captain Bryan is responsible for engaging with this environment to the extent that he could determine that the creatures were in there. He was pulling tracks, and so I want to acknowledge that Bryan was the one that found this habitat and first recognized that it had value where cryptoreality research was concerned. And we would not be where we're at with that study, a study of giants, were it not for Bryan and his discoveries. He called me out of the blue one day and was like, I can't believe you're doing this, because we hadn't spoken in years. It's just been years. Life separated, and we moved and we did things. And so he was really interested, and he's like, I've been going to this place, and I think something's going on, and I gave him a little information on what to look for, where, and just to look, man, go find some mud, dude, just go to the mud if you want to know quick. And so he went to the mud, and man, huge track, check it out. So when he found that, of course, and we made films, and you can see we were working together and all this stuff, but I don't think anybody could expect, what was happening is happening out there. And it's like, Bryan, man, it's insane. It's insane, and we're talking about that stuff tonight, but you can't talk about the creatures of this size without talking about the only correlations that exist. And so Bryan, did a stellar job in finding that track in the area, and we've gotten the hair samples and all of this footage of all of these creatures, and that acknowledgement is there, and we appreciate your hard work. It's incredible that the corollaries we find on the ground alone force us to seek answers from ancient history, because there are no corollaries in present time. And so when you're faced with that alone, your ass is puckering. And that's the reality of when you get home and you start processing what's going on in this area that Bryan has led the team into. We're in the editor and we're looking at an enormous creature. And there's several in the foreground. There's a really big one that's on the ground. And this is actually footage of when we were in the prairie and we were actually getting ready to leave. So all of a sudden Melanie turns around and starts filming, and she's got this intense look on her face. Watch this giant creature come into focus. This is the creature's head right here. Its eyes at the bottom of its nose. So its nose is right here, that triangle nose. We've got nostrils. Watch this. Absolutely incredible, man. Look at the size of this hominoid. We even get some of the ear over here. Watch this bone structure, man. Are you kidding me, man? Look at the size of this thing. We got light moving all over its face. It's enormous. This is an enormous creature. Look at that thing right there, man. And I'm very oh, look, we get a little bit of light off the eye there and everything, man. I'm very pleased with this because we've been able to identify this individual through its bone structure. And this is the old Sasquatch totem pole. We've got something here in front of this, what would essentially be the right side of this guy's face. It's right here blocking. Is it another creature? More than likely, because, they're communal in that respect. We've got this thing's head is enormous. And this is a big creature. It looks just like the totem poles, the Pacific Northwest totem poles. And you can see that thing in there. It's blending in. Here it's on this side, and we're moving it through, and you can see that this thing is there, man. Huge bone structure. Look at that. My goodness. We got a huge troll in the bushes. We got both eyes right here. And they're deep set. This is that shelved kind of bone structure. And then on the side, we've got an ear. Now this bone structure wraps around the head kind of, so it can be confusing when you're looking at it, but man, we got its eye in here really good. This is the nose, and it's split off. And you can see this thing is in there watching us. Look at that. It's magnificent, man. This is the kind of footage that people dream about, right? This was an encounter. Look at the bush move. Watch this right here. Something's in there, and it's moving around. Look at that. You can see there's a whole chunk of it moving next to him. It's not even, he's not even moving. So there is something in there with him. It's moving the entire thing. But you can see huge creature, and then some of his ears over here. Let's see if we can get a better shot so you can get an idea. Well, look here, man. My goodness, we've got the entire front of the nose here, the end of the tip of the nose, and the nostril. It's real wide. You can see it's like rectangular, the bone structure, but it comes out, juts out. And then we've got this mohawk. Watch this eye. Watch right here. You see it? Dude. He's like squinting a little bit. So we're looking at the edge of the frame, and here's the creature. You can see his ears right here, and that's the same as that ear that we showed you. And then you've got this bone structure that comes up. This is that bone structure. Now watch. You see him in there? Watch this. It's a nostril flare. We got nostrils. So we got this flat nose going all the way across. We got that bone structure with the mohawk. That little bit of ear sticking out. It's incredible, man. That thing's moving. Look at that. You can even see where it's flexing its nostril, but also you can see some of that inside that bone structure. That's that wicked bone structure. The nose, that muscle in the soft tissue. It's so big, the muscle,
It goes almost all the way across. You can see it's almost all the way out to the side of this cheek right here. This is going to be the outside of that oculus. It comes up like this and comes down, but that nostril goes all the way. And then you've got this piece that kind of comes down on the upper lip on both sides. You can see it. This is nostrils, folks. Here's the eyes up here. The ear is out here. This is a giant creature. This is one of the creatures we've been studying.
So this next tidbit is frightening because it demonstrates what I know about the creatures, that they try to look like parts of, the forest. And this thing is trying to look like it's part of the forest. You can see it actually moving its eyebrow there, and there's a little gleam coming off the side of its eye. But it's enormous, and it's the exact same species we're capturing throughout this entire area. This particular creature, again, on the ground, in the bushes, holding still, watching the humans, probably understanding that we're gonna leave in a few minutes. So they just hold still until we do. We're walking past giant creatures. Imagine millions of us. Every time we go out in the forest, all over the country, we're walking. So this is real quick, looking at the hair. We put it under all kinds of different light conditions. You can see this stuff in an instant changes colors. So if he walks outside the canopy, the hair appears to be clear. Here's some black ones. Here's an amber one. You can see all of this right here with your own eyes. Here it is. He walks in the canopy. The darker hairs appear darker than anything you'll see in the forest. Those dark spots, it's different shade areas than this. This is that hair. See how it absorbs shadow even. It's strange, man. But you can see all of what's behind this hair is what this hair looks like. Because we can back right up into the light, see the green background, but the position of the sun, simulated here with LED lights, is casting directly onto it. Now we see amber hair, black hair, and clear hair with a green black background. Change the light direction, and suddenly it's completely the opposite, and the creature's blending in. Now he's passing in their sunlight. You get a real good look at all the hairs. You can even see through this hair. And they're talking about how it confuses the eye. When you're seeing the creature and the hair is in the wind, moving, shimmering. It's sitting there shimmering in front of you, this creature. It's got that shimmer. It's got that glow all around the outside of it. There it is, hiding, blending in, right there, right? We look at the creature. There he is. His hair's doing this, and it's blending in real time. And gators have this same kind of thing, but it's slower. And they kind of naturally just blend in with the environment. If they're in clear water and they're up on the top getting sun, they could appear extremely dark. This owl has feathers, but this is all stuff that is built into them. Lesser species than this guy. This guy changes colors in real time. That guy right there, he blends in with the palmettos in real time. There's one right here too. You can see this symmetry. His cheekbones, his eyes there, his nose is right back there. You can see this is probably part of his hand right here in front of his face. Here's the face of the other one. You can see both of his eyes. Blending in. Their skin combined with this hair equals I don't see you. It's all about diffusion. See this? That's not diffusion. This is diffusion, making you think that somehow it's not there, but it's a combination of all this hair. This is the samples that we can't find any matches for. As you can see, the samples are very interesting in that they appear to be without a medulla, at least in these clear representations. You can see these clear hairs. You can see plainly through the hair. All these colors, shimmering, man. You talk about, these things can change colors. Look at this. They blend with the background, and then suddenly a being of light stepped out of the tree line. Around with giants.
Bryan walked us into some really interesting habitat, like this. This is a trail that literally was cut through, and it was a series of interconnected tunnels. As you can see here, this is orchestrated. We're going inside their habitat, and there are trails leading in different directions. Each one of the trails that we followed came out at a significant tree. And there was evidence that something had been pulling and climbing the trees, as well as manipulating their way through this entire habitat.
We're all on the path.
So somebody's been walking back here taking shits?
No, they're like massive shits. They're like this long and like this big around.
Wow.
Oh, it's dark in here. I can't see shit right now.
No pun intended?
Yeah, no pun intended. No, I don't know where they're at. They have some liquor. You go first.
They got full-on trails going through the forest, guys. Incredible.
Through the Florida dense bush.
Yeah. You can see they're all broke off at the ground, and the trail's been created. Don't get many opportunities like this when you're in the field, and I have a reliable small camera that's called the DJI Osmo. Get one. Images like this are not easy to come by. Clips like this are what add critical information to your ability to capture these creatures on film again. Here in this clip, we can see the symmetry and bone structure of a very young Sasquatch. Stick around. After the film, I'm going to break it down in detail. Here's the breakdown in slow motion. Keep in mind through this slow motion breakdown that Bryan's been in this area interacting with these creatures, hearing their vocalizations, getting knocks when he knocks to them. One of the first times he went to this place, he heard children playing out in the swamp, laughing loudly. In this frame, you can see the creature's flared its nostrils. There are strangers in its house. We show a lot of data on diffusion interacting with these creatures' skin. You've seen hundreds of images from crypto reality over the last 8 years showing these creatures with green colored skin. And those have been in extremely high sunlight research situations where we're documenting the creatures in the middle of the day. This is early morning and there is no sunlight. It was 7 o'clock in the morning when we got there, and it was overcast and raining. They have no chance to hide when the sunlight isn't there to conceal them. In low light situations, you can absolutely document these achromatically colored creatures because the phenomenon is not present. You can plainly see the achromatic coloration, the gray skin, the white tone or light gray skin of that creature.
another lookout. If I go look at that tree blocking the view, the roots are in the tree.
Oh yeah.
From these little observation positions, you can plainly observe the levee and the surrounding areas. We found several of these spots. Each one, the brush was manipulated so that the view could be optimized. You can plainly see this brush is pulled down. And from inside here, you can observe the levee without being seen, especially if you blend in.
Bigfoot. It's pretty interesting.
We got tracks.
Big one.
This is crazy. There's literally a tunnel going right out here, man. Ooh. There it is. Holy crap. So we can't go.
We'd hiked ourselves right up against a swamp and had nowhere else to go but left or right. We tried a little ways in both directions and eventually backtracked to get out of the swamp.
Sorry. If I hear something, man, I point my camera, you know. I've learned that it doesn't matter. You might have just walked past him and he was just laying there trying to hide, you know. Yeah, we got a heavy urine smell.
Good cool off spot if they don't want to go. Be seen out there.
Mm-hmm. Good spot for a 10-footer too. You wanna try? You wanna go?
I don't give a shit.
Fuck it. Let's go, man. Bryan said I'm from Belle Glade.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, right back in. You know everything in there.
I guess we're going.
Yeah. Look how Rudy to make the next. On to another big fish. Didn't have the ripples. It was more straight.
And action.
Okay, this is why we go in and just kind of working the canopy inside where they are, because now when we come out and film, I don't have to penetrate them. I can just walk the road and I know their hiding spots. We've been there.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're
Crawl through it
watching the
underneath.
road, so technically you catch them on film just walking this levee now.
Yeah.
You just gotta time it right and do it as many times as it takes to catch one in one of these observation holes.
Yep, so we know where they are now. We know there's one down here by these purple flowers where there's a water bed. We know there's one further down where there's an opening. There's holes with sticks going across there. You see it on film.
Yeah.
So we're in the editor and we're actively taking a look at a young one that was near Bryan and I when we were investigating a series of orchestrated tunnels through some bushes. And as you can see, this creature's watching us, and it's little. It doesn't. I don't think this one particular creature is bigger than maybe 4 feet tall, but it's definitely there watching us, and it's just a little guy, man. This is the nostrils right here, and it's got the big Sasquatch wide nostrils there, and the upper lip area is right here, but it's kind of looking down its nose at me, and this is the way that drastic rectangular bone structure is around the eyes. It's drastic. You can kind of make it out as he comes around right there. Boom, and he's like looking at me, and both nostrils, and you get the bridge of the nose here. But he's got his head back, kind of looking. And this is not part of the creature. This is a branch, and it comes up and it goes right up through here. Now that thing actually moves as we move forward. You can see he moves that thing out of the way. Something moves it. It's in the background. It's behind this green stuff, and it comes up like that. But it moves a little bit, and then we get a real good look up the nostrils, which is an interesting shot. It's looking down its nose at us. But is it possible there are other ones there? Absolutely. I have, looked at the footage, and there's stuff moving. I didn't ascertain that there was anything that was worth pursuing, but in these frames, you can see This is the creature that we've been studying. And it looks just like the 10-footer that I saw, a 9 or 10-footer from this drawing last year. I shot this footage while I was waiting for Bryan at my truck. I heard a little bit of rumbling over there in the bushes, and then I looked over and saw the kind of green movement, blurry, shadowy kind of stuff, and this is what the Osmo picked up. I couldn't see it with my naked eye. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the Bigfoot Researcher's Journal. We'll see you next time. We're staring at Bigfoot hair, guys, and you know, the interesting aspect and corroboration that this is indeed Sasquatch hair is the fact that we caught him on film right there where we were finding these hairs snagged in the branches.
What?
So this is where we found the hair, and you see Chad, he's up front pointing like he sees something, so I'm gonna obviously follow through, and we catch him on film. There's a couple of them, I think, but this one we got is a Sasquatch. There's no getting around it. Now, this first frame, he's still blurry, but as I kind of move around to try to get a better look over there, he comes out, and it's a Florida Sasquatch, man. I'm going to highlight him for you now, and we'll add some contrast changes, and boom, he just comes right to life. Watch this. Excellent shot. This is where we found the hair that we're looking at right now. I don't think that it's this subadult's hair. I think that... So Bryan had been collecting hair for months and had several bags. From one spot on the fence, the creatures kept coming through.
Alright, so I was actually right up on the corner where we came in, and I was looking at those tree manipulations. And I always do whistling when I'm out, just like, you know, just letting everything know I'm here. And I heard this loud scream. It was like a little girl playing on a swing set almost, because I have 2 little girls. It was like just a loud, whee! You know, almost like whee! And I'm like, what? I knew it came from this way. It came from this corner. I was standing back there. So I turn around and I'm like, my mind had to go check the parking lot. Did some kids pull up in the parking lot? I don't know. So I ran out and looked. Nope, nobody's in the parking lot. I run back in and I'm whistling again, and I hear it again the second time. Whee! Like they're up high on the swing, or.
But it was coming from this deep
from here,
swamp over here?
Oh, it was coming from here, definitely. And the way it was windy as shit, and I could hear it in the wind. That's how loud it was.
Oh, man.
I mean, it was fun.
Even though, for reasons we don't understand yet, and they may have valid explanations, I'm sure they're going to have to, at some point, to justify releasing cattle in this public hiking area. There are cattle in a public hiking area. Bulls. I'm talking about bulls, bro. 1,000-pound bull. Bighorns. Sharp. Charging at you. That already happened to me. Yeah. I got charged by a boar in that place. And I was looking online, and this is the closest thing I can find to it. But that thing come up out of those bushes, and it was fleeing. There was a sound in this palmetto head, and I had someone else with me. Bryan couldn't make it, and his sun was going down. Like I said, magic hour, and this thing exploded. Not the pigs. Something enormous tried to get the pigs. 8 or 9 babies, piglets, went 90 miles an hour one direction. The sow ran out in another direction, and then there was a struggle And suddenly, the boar exploded out of the bushes, but instead of running with the sow and the piglets, it exploded out of those bushes right at me. And it looked like that. And it had a little bigger tusks on it, but it was like, this thing has shoulders, bro. And I was standing there like, oh, and it was like, okay, whatever happens, I'm going to be defending myself from this point forward, you know what I mean? And what I realized from the encounter was the boar was so freaked out, and something had it, and it got away, and it was coming straight at me, but it was incidental, because it saw me, and when it saw me, it was like, and it just peeled out, and tore up the dirt, and took off in, like, you know, the other direction. It was like, and like, you know, 25 feet from me, though. It traveled like 40 yards going 40 miles an hour, and it was screaming like a big pissed off boar. I about had a heart attack. So it took me like 15 minutes to calm my nerves after that, and it did not escape me that something huge had a hold of it. Biblical giants, the days of Noah, are going to be talked about today, because you know what we're talking about. We're talking about creatures that aren't supposed to exist. First of all, they're the Sasquatch, and then there are these things. And what are they? Are they enormous Sasquatch? Are they the biblical giants? Are they the Reptilian? We have experience with all of this in the field, having had encounters with things that don't exactly look like Bigfoot. And I've had thermal encounters. One in particular in 2019, I had two people with me, my wife and Scott Hunley. And the creature I witnessed, the Bigfoot appeared to be subordinate to. And it was enormous. It was between 12 and 14 feet tall. And it was not a Sasquatch. The head was completely different. The creature was a completely different. It looked like the Incredible Hulk is what it looked like, but only wider and more ridiculously wider. It was like wider. Even the head was wider. But is that a Reptilian? I don't know. But, you know, talking about all of this stuff is what's in the film. And this is what we're talking about today. So we're talking about the giants, and what is it like? You know, first of all, being a Bigfoot researcher, and you know, first of all, what I am is skeptical, and that's a problem, right? And that's the first thing that people get wrong about our work and about who I am. And what they don't understand is, for a while before we started conducting field research, we were the ones questioning people. We were the ones that people refused to come on our show and answer the tough questions. And in the end, we decided that if we were going to ask these tough questions, and people weren't willing to answer them live, and we knew why, because they didn't have the answers, but we were going to ask those questions and put people in these positions, then we needed to have those answers ourselves before we did that. Because it's not right for people to go after other people when they don't even have the answers themselves. Like, there are people doing a really good job in the field all over this country, and I'm one of them. And I know that because I've dedicated a decade to it. And if you doubt that, then you could talk to any of the members of Crypto Reality for the last decade, man. I haven't let those people down. Those people are still with us. And the reality is we know what we know, and you know what you know. The world knows what they know through Crypto Reality, from people who took action. And so, what are we talking about when we talk about Bigfoot encounters and Crypto Reality Bigfoot encounters? We're talking about what we caught on film, because what I'm trying to do is get you to understand that every single one of these films that we show these creatures, that's an encounter. So as a researcher, this kind of data right here is not okay. This is an enormous primate, apparently, right? I mean, this is me, and this is the creature back here. This is the same thing we've been studying. It's moving around back there. It's insane, the data, but it keeps on coming, and you can see he's back there. He's back there watching. Let's make a little adjustment. Watch this. Watch this. Once this renders, it's insane. Look at this. Huge. This is that Gigantopithecus kind of skull that we saw from the old documentaries. We got enormous looking. Look at this nose, man. You can see he's back there, and there's probably a couple little ones with him. Who knows? The more we study these creatures, the more impossible things continue happening, and you know, you're left with what it is until the next expedition. You can see me in the foreground, and this huge thing. Look, if this isn't eyes, then why is there a light ball in one of them? What's going on? You can see this is the nose area, and then we've got this huge bone structure. If you could picture almost a giant, kind of a dog looking kind of a head right here, but that's what's in the bushes, and this is the kind of data in this research area that continues to repeat itself. What do you do with this? Well, we have to continue documenting. You can see there's a set of eyes, there's a ball in one, obviously nocturnal. I mean, we talk about that a lot. You can see that it appears to be moving there, and there's boom, there's the eye. We've got the snout. You know, is this a huge Bigfoot creature? Is this what some of the creatures look like? When we get to frames like this, we see a little bit better look. It doesn't appear to be that it's a dog man, but it is some kind of a hominoid that has so much muscle in its face that it can obviously, you know, sort of look like a dog man. I mean, we're looking at that area there again, and you can plainly see it's almost a snout. It appears to be a snout. The difficulties with this data that continues to repeat itself is the size of the individuals that we continue to document. You can plainly see this is enormous. It's behind these trees, and this is that creature. There's that eye we were talking about. But this is one of the achromatic ones that blend in. So, you know, is this part of its shoulder or its body in here, this line? It seems to be blending in. Let's look at the creature in its natural state, the way the camera picked it up. There it is. This is what the camera sees. It cannot differentiate because the colors and the shades are so subtle, and they're also broadcasting off the face in every direction. This creature is not gray. The diffusion hitting its face is these colors, and you can see that it's in there. It literally, at one point, there's that frame. I mean, if we go back in and we make adjustments, we come out with this creature that we're looking at here, and you can see. Let's make it a little brighter, and let's get some more contrast. And let's see. We'll get in a little bit closer. Melanie's in the back, and she's been filming this white one that's been following along, paralleling her. I mean, little. It's bigger than these bushes. It's looking over them at my wife. It's back in this area. We just looked at it. So here it is, man. Look at this thing. So what do we do when the data continues to prove out giant creatures every expedition? Good job, by the way, Melanie, on all of it. Mel picks it up. She's like, there's something over here on my right. So she just swings the camera a little bit. And this was the first time she ever used the DJI Osmo. And shots like this are valuable for me. I use it in my research to conduct experiments. Now that I know it's possible for this individual, you can see his snout here and this ball right here inside one of the eyes. Now that I know it's possible, look at him moving his snout a little bit right there. Oh boy, we got some, you know, I mean, come on, man, you know, you're looking at it. I use it. The next time I go in, I'm gonna try to get this guy specifically because I want to know if this dude has big pointy ears sticking off the side. Is this a giant wolf creature? Because guys, it's got some strange kind of like ear structure up in here on both sides, and you can see it. Is this some kind of a, I don't know what this is, but it's frightening, and we need more data. It's obviously eyeballing my wife and I and Bryan. They're obviously not harming people. Bryan and his family, his children and him are always in here. You know, they're finding its tracks. Is this creature a different type? We can see it in there. You can see its eye right there. This thing is looking. And then a couple frames later, you just see the nocturnal. Boom, there it is. There's the eye, then boom. 1/60th of a second later, it's milked over with a glare. When it does that, the creatures that have that little milk that glares over every once in a while, and you can see where it's like, it's not, and it is. It's not, and it is. And that's what I'm talking about, where you have more light being broadcast. So the light going in was the perfect angle, hitting right directly in the camera lens, and it caught a glare. So at night, if we were standing here, and there's a little bit of one over here too, but it looks like it's got something, I don't know if it's hair or some bush or whatever this is, or over the other one, but you would see glowing eyes, giant glowing eyes. But the reality is they're just transmitting, reflecting the light off the back of the lens. And they have huge eyes, and obviously they're nocturnal, so you have huge and nocturnal design lenses to specifically enable vision in the dark. We're not seeing 99% of the light that is here with us on expedition right now, and I'm having to manipulate it to find the giants. What does that tell you? If you go back and read your history, it's interesting how all this correlates. But we're definitely going to look for, is this ears up here? We don't know. We do know that thing is there, though. Boy, it's scary looking. Look at that, man. It's growling in the bushes. Freaking me out, man. I got to pick up my camera and go back. Well, you can see it's pulled down right in that hole. Yeah. Little stick marker. Yeah. Got the barbed wire pulled all down in here, and there's a hole right there.
Deer don't put stick upright. Last time I checked.
Yeah, right. Well, let's keep going. Shit.
Yeah, this is all water. There's little bathtubs in here. Oh, you want to save that? Or?
No. But looking along this fence, man, there's got to be other spots. Could be on the lower ones too. Snagged up in those bushes, and you'd never even know it. Whoa! Yeah, this is where it was. I can tell. Right here, huh?
Yeah, all the way
this
down
whole row of barbed wire is pulled down. You can see it. And there's only one up here around.
It's 58 inches. I measured it roughly.
58 inches? Wow. Is that where the hair was snagged?
There and bottom. Look.
See, we're getting legs. Oh yeah, there's some hair right there.
A long piece too. I mean, this is what I had to do. I had to work it out.
Untangle it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's leg hair, and then they're getting their head hair snatched on the top one.
Yeah.
What you got there?
That's the hair. That's the clear stuff and the real light blonde stuff.
There it is. Yeah, I'm saying. Look at this, snagged up in the barbed wire. Crystal clear hair. Man, come on, dude. There's a polar bear on the loose. Go ahead, get it, B. Let's bag it. Bag and tag it, baby.
Well, it actually has a black in with it.
Oh, there's a black one too?
I think so, yeah. Look.
Ooh, nice. All right, let's bag it. Here's one down here on the bottom. It's interesting here. Watch the left side of the screen up at the top there. Somebody's in there, and they're hopping and then they're ducking.
hops over something, and ducks. You can see the bush go down on an angle there, leaving it in the open, and I think it ducked because it realized it was visible. It appears to be hopping. It sort of hops and then drops down. Little strange behavior. If it was a deer, I don't know, man. I'm inclined to think that this is probably one of them. They're definitely in there, moving about. You can see that forward and reverse. There's something back in there. They blend in so well. I didn't even notice this. I was focused on the hair there, so. And, I think what we're seeing is the brow ridge that has no hair on it. I think that's both sides above the eyes. And, he's looking at us. Hops over and ducks, and you can see him reversing it now, and you can see it looks like brow ridges. And they're so fast that you wouldn't even notice this. It's, And I think we're being watched. We got the hair on the fence, and then there's stuff in the bushes. It's a really cool, capture. We were focused on pulling the hair, so we didn't see this. And reviewing the film, I take a detailed look at it, and I'm like, wow, that doesn't appear to be a deer, a four-legged animal. Just the way it hops and then drops. Not typical deer or hog behavior. So in addition to that, we got this. We're seeing humongous shoulders and the outline, and you can see that ape looking face in there with the exaggerated Sasquatch features. There's a couple frames of it, and looking at it, to me it's disturbing, because I know if we're back in there, these guys are going to be around us, and it's not something that you want to play around with, really. But it's interesting. Left side of the screen at the top. Boom, and he ducks. And then there's this. Are we looking at a spot that has a group of Sasquatch here? Well, we seem to keep confirming these huge, dark human primate features right behind the hair samples that don't match anything known to science besides a polar bear. And of course, here we are. You can see we're in Florida. Plenty of hair. We're getting the hair snagged on the top where they're ducking under it, and we're getting the hairs snagged on the bottom where their feet are coming through with that long hair on their shins. Pretty cool. You got more? Oh, I got a giant clump right here. There it is. Tangled up in the barbed wire, baby.
Yeah, that's new.
That's a good clump. That's a new one?
Yeah.
Sweet, dude. Let's pull that baby out, bag it up. Kick ass. Got him?
And that's the thing, if there's a fucking polar bear, he wouldn't have blacks in there with it. That's when you find it. Polar bears don't have black hairs too. I mean, look, black and clear in the same, and an amber.
This is a perfect example of why you never listen to professional skeptics, trolls, any of that stuff. These people have no idea what's going on because they don't research in the field. You won't see it unless I highlight it. But there's a Sasquatch sitting against that dead tree right there watching Bryan and me pull its hair off the barbed wire fence. We're going to advance frames, and you're going to see this guy in his mouth, most of his face, and there may be some other ones there, but this is obvious. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. We got the hair on the barbed wire, and there it is. Right there, you can plainly see the features of that Bigfoot. There's an even clearer frame. Let's zoom in, take a closer look. As you observe this, you can see the bulging features. You can see the little triangle above the eye, and that's that hairless little brow ridge, the nose. You can even see the mouth slit in there. Just look. It's right there. See, this is the kind of spot, man, you get fucking towed up by a hog. Oh my God. Yeah.
Those are definitely fresh hairs today. Where we picked off those hairs this morning, south of that palm tree where we're gonna put the game trail, Cam, those are definitely fresh hairs. Because I was just there last weekend and I methodically picked off every hair off that fence, just because I wanted to know, am I missing it, or is this new every time I come? So the other big clumps we found on the main area, I didn't really look there.
But the other one?
But the other ones, those are new.
So you did a good job and you did it right.
I sat there and I went along I even pulled the bottoms up and looked at the bottoms. And then I walked all the way to the end of it and I walked all the way back. And I walked all the way to the end of it and on the way back I actually walked that tree line. That's where I found that tree snap.
Huh.
So those are definitely, those are new samples. So those weren't missed.
So he's coming through there.
I want to direct your attention to the creature's eye socket, right? So again, we're watching this enormous creature, and if you're trying to look at it vertically, the creature is leaning to its left, right? So we have the cheekbone, and the other cheekbone is right in this area. You can see this angle on this line right here. That's the edge of the cheekbone. Under it, but you can see that's the same exact angle on the other side right here, and then the creature's eye is right here. But I want to direct your attention to the nature of this creature's eye and how it can move, because this is critical data on how these creatures observe their environment. And if we look at it, what we can see is he's plainly moving it from side to front, side to front. Again, we're right here, and you can see the eye from side to front, side to front. This is more of a reptilian trait. Again, I'm going to move that again, but we've got the creature's nose here. So we're looking at the brow area here, but this creature has independent brow, and it's actually appears to be looking off in this direction, but if you watch, now it's looking forward, and we can see that it's moved. Side, front, side, front. This creature can look to the side. Lizards can do that, and it's looking right at me right now. There's that ball, and that's that eye that bounces a lot more light back. That's what's happening. But again, we're seeing that there's an independent musculature there under that eye, that brow. We can see that musculature, and it's to the side, and it looks back to the front, and we can plainly see that musculature moving under that eye. This is an incredible species right here, is what we're looking at, and this, in my mind, is probably some of the stuff that A.H. Miller was looking at when he classified these creatures in the Telidae classification, because that's a reptilian classification, and his official designation was Cebidae Telidae, or Cebidae Telidae, or Cebidae Telidae, whichever way you prefer it. But you can see plainly that we're dealing with something that clearly has just in the movement, in the musculature around the eye, some interesting traits is the way we can put it. I mean, that's incredible. And looking at the rest of the footage as we go through this, we get some incredible shots, and we're dealing with some pretty good distances in some of these shots, but this one was actually a lot closer. He's in this area right here, and as we zoom in, you can see there's a little bit of a color difference between this white, which is the colorless, the achromatic colorless, and then the sky. And there appears to be something back in this area, but this right here ended up being him, and and we can see him up here. We'll watch right now as he comes down. You can see it's moving, and that eye is constantly evaluating everything that's going on around it. And you can see this enormous creature right there, and we've got the big head with the apex, a couple of palm fronds in front of it, but you can see that ball inside that musculature again. And that's a great frame right there, man. Couple of great frames. You can see the under eye moving again, that musculature moving the ball. That's a trip, man. To see that in what, look at this musculature on top of the eye here. I mean, it's nuts. That head, we got this color difference here because it's picking up colors. The shade of this tree could be what's causing this difference in color variation here. You got the nose right here, you can see it plainly, but he's observing our group as we attempt to locate them, and we're actually looking across in this direction. And I know I shot clips, but I also on one of these expeditions had camera trouble, and I'm wondering if this is where I had camera trouble. I haven't gone through yet to find it, but you can see this creature's brow, and when the two independents are screeched up with like that anger kind of a brow, you can see it. It's kind of startling, man. It's enormous, but we did it, man. We got them. The achromatic giants of South Florida. You're staring at one of them hiding in some saw palmettos from about 85, 90 yards away. You've got the achromatic man up in the bushes. Let's look for a good frame here. Let's see when we come in. I think we've got a few other individuals here too. Look at this. We've got a dark individual back in the back there, and he's watching us. You can see that apex there. It's incredible, man. This is just down the tree line from the other guy. I mean, look at that. So he's up in this area right here. If we crop this, pretty sure we can see where this other guy is right there. There he is. Here's the, he's in a different position too. He's looking more straight on. So we got the apex here, and you can see there's color variation right there. It appears there's something going on over there around him as well. But he's fairly camouflaged now with the palm fronds in front of him. Got a little bit of a different angle. And he looks like he's trying to blend in. You can see the top of his head here, though, the lines, and you've got the split there. He's still standing there. That's amazing. We come back. We've got that guy right there, and that's a big one right there, man. This is a big individual. You can see this, the mouth line. We got the nose area. Watch this. You can see him standing in there. All that color change giving us problems with the camera there. But look at him. And he's blending in so good, you can't even tell. I don't know if this is a white one or what's going on here. There's a stick or what it is, but you can plainly see that huge pointy-headed guy standing back there. We've got the perfect symmetry. Interesting, he looks like a spook. Halloween. You can see him real good in this frame right here. Let's adjust some of that brightness. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now we got him good, and it looks like this may be like behind him or right up next to him. What are they smushing in together, trying to get in a shot? It's ridiculous. We come back into this this other area. I mean, there's stuff all down this tree line, but back into this footage, we've got an immense creature, and we finally did it. We got some really clear footage of one of these achromatons. That's what we're calling them, man. And the reality is these creatures, under most light conditions, you will not know that they're there. Crypto reality. Long-term field research supported by the general public and people who actually want to move the needle forward. If you're interested in supporting our study, join us on Patreon at Crypto Reality.